wasn't like one season down. It was like, I could see it in the season before. I thought, oh, we stayed in the Premiership only just about, and then it just started to slide. And and you can't do enough once that slip starts. You couldn't get out of it. So, some couple of seasons where we finished 7th, Pete would always take us just after Christmas. He'd take us to Moxham Hall for a week on the piss, right? And it'd be like, and I'd be like, we don't need to go for a week on the piss. Like, we need to just, because I think one year we were like 3rd in the Premiership and went to Moxham Hall, and we'd never won a game once we got back there. We'd been on the piss, so we never won a game the rest of the season, and we finished 7th. I'm thinking, well, if we hadn't been on the piss, we'd have.
This is why we finished 7th, because
yeah. So it looks absolutely great, but I'm pretty sure we could have finished higher than that amount, and they could have, the club could have put me on the contract. The manager, they could have just said, we've put him on a contract. Just let him train me. I would have thought I'd have forced my way into the team. Wouldn't have been an issue. The manager, I'm pretty sure he's gone. Yeah, we'll stick him in. He's good enough. He's better than what we've got. And so I kind of blame the club a bit. Yeah, the manager's just doing his. He wanted to bring his player in. Yes, he brought. No disrespect to foreigners, but they brought him in championships. A bloody tough place to play, and they just couldn't cut the mustard, so to speak. Playing the Premiership. Who doesn't want to? For me, it's the best league in the world. I played against some of the best players.
Again in the best era.
Yeah, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Robin van Persie, Dennis Bergkamp. I played against these players. When I was 18. I played against Eric Cantona. Oh, what's going on here? I just literally signed for Cambridge. Well, I'd been a year at Cambridge. It was my 2nd season, and they had a pre-season against Man United. All those players, Brian McClare, Mark Hughes, like Eric Cantona. And I'm thinking, this is pretty weird. I'm like just turned 19 a year ago. I was doing my A-levels at down in Bournemouth, and here I am playing against Eric Cantona, and then there's my mum having a photo with me at the end of the game. Yeah, that was a bit of a shock, and that took a while to get over. But as a player, I'm not a player to just sit at home and I just can't sit there and just be sad I just couldn't do it. I went back training after a week, whether it was the right thing or wrong thing. I went and did it. I needed to just go back to training. I went back to training after a week, and it was like great for me. My wife came and to training ground every day.
Have a minute, mate.
Yeah. And everyone just stuck by me, and I think my first game back was against Cambridge United, ironically. So.
Before we get into this, we're doing over 1 million engagements a month, but most of you aren't subscribed. If you enjoy the content, hit subscribe and follow us on socials. It'll make such a massive difference. Cheers. Morning, Jody. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Good
Good.
to see you.
We're rolling. We're all ready to go. We're down here at St Andrews. We had a chat when you come in. You haven't been down there since you've played. What are your memories of there?
A few years ago. So I don't, I've headed about 2 million footballs, so I actually don't remember a lot. But I did score here. I think that's probably, that stands out because I scored. I think it was a 1-1. I think we scraped that. That's kind of my last memory of being here, and it was a good memory because I don't score many times as a centre half. So to score was great, and we got a result. It kind of like I said, did we deserve it? I don't know, but we got it. So it was a bit of a kind of a few moment like, we got away with that one. So
do you remember the atmosphere down here? Steve has been on and said it was horrible, but he loved it because he excelled in it. It's meant to be one of the worst grounds for to kind of come and play at.
It was all right. As we spoke before, I said, like, Wolves West Brum is, pretty hostile. Yes, it's quite spicy out there, but it was never a Wolves West Brum, just like it was never, wouldn't be a Blues Villa. So, it was, yes, it's a bit spicy, but it's not too bad. And, but the first time I ever came to this ground, I must have been about 8 years old. And we came with I think it was the school brought us to work, to watch Blues versus Millwall.
Brilliant.
And I don't know if you will remember when the game got cancelled and everyone was chucking seats on the pitch.
That's a good school trip
memory of coming to the stadium. Yeah,
wow,
it was absolute. My mate, I think my mate was about 8, 9 years old. He got punched in the face. So it's like it was brutal. Yeah,
Yeah.
So
that was-
that's why I didn't become a Blues fan.
Yeah. They just got to school, just done theatre trips after that.
It was it. Yeah, it was Shakespeare evermore after that.
What football team did you support, growing up?
I was supporting Liverpool growing up. It was either Liverpool, Man United, and that was it. So my mate
Liverpool were
supported
good back
Man
then,
United,
weren't
so I supported Liverpool. Simple as that.
Mm.
Fair enough. Can't argue with that. So, 750 professional appearances. We were talking about your goals before. You said you didn't score many. 27 goals season in the Prem with Wolves. I think you had 5, didn't you? That.
Yeah.
So you scored a few. How did football start for you?
I started later. I started at 18. I tried to. I wanted to be a footballer. Who doesn't want to be a footballer? That's your dream as a kid. So I wanted to be a footballer, but I wasn't good enough until I started to kind of develop a bit more. So at the age of 17, I was playing men's football. I play Saturday afternoon for a team called Christchurch in the Deuce and Wessex League. And that was a bit of a semi-pro. So, I was starting to kind of play with, men's football, which brought my game on. I played pub football Sunday morning and under 18s on a Sunday afternoon. I'd gone for trials at Bournemouth. Tony Pulis was there, and they spotted me and said, "Right, come and have a few games." Not with the first thing, but to see if I get into the academy. So this was literally just before Christchurch. Yeah, and I did all right, and I played a couple of games and for the academy, and they said, "Right, we'll sign you on." And I said, "Okay, let me just finish my A levels. I've got my A levels to finish. I've got, already been doing my A levels for a year. I didn't want to just chuck that all in because I didn't particularly think I was good enough to be a footballer. So I thought, right, I do need to get my A levels just in case." And they said, "Okay, great, just give us a ring as soon as you're finished, and we'll get you down here for the rest of the kind of academy course." And I rang them up, and they're like, "Who?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, okay." So they kind of forgot about me, and so then I just carried on playing my local teams, and like I said, the 3 games at the weekend, and I think the word gets around you, young lad playing centre half. It kind of stands out a little bit more just because you don't get that many younger lads playing in that position. So a few scouts came down, and Cambridge was the one that took the punt and ran it and said, "Come and have a try."
So what was Cambridge like?
Good, loved it. Young lad, kind of new world.
Lovely part of the world.
Yeah, beautiful part of the world. So met some great lads there. It just felt like being at school with your mates, but playing football and not having to do any homework and not having to do nothing, but just being with your mates. And that's what it felt like. It was brilliant. I absolutely loved it. It weren't about money because I was on absolute pennies and couldn't afford a thing. It was just about loving football and playing it. And I've just turn up every day and think, well, and then I'd have a day off on a Wednesday. I think, well, why having a day off? And why having a day off for? And I think I don't deserve a day off. I haven't done anything. So I just go and kick the ball against the wall at the back of the stadium for hours on end. Just do that. I just loved it. So Cambridge was great. Got some great mates there. Yeah, and it brought me on. Kerry Johnson took me there. Brought my game on. I went out and learned on the first season to Woking, which was great. And then just slowly worked my way into the team, and but I think I become the captain by the time my 4th year came around, and moved on from there.
When did you start for actually feeling, okay, yeah, I'm going to make it? Because even then you just said at Cambridge, you were like, oh,
Yeah,
they deserve it. Kind of thing.
I just think, even when I went to Sunderland, I did another course. I did a course in I did a course of fitness and nutrition at Cambridge, and then I did another one, a sports psychology course, and then I did my coaching badges. I did up to my B license. I don't know. I just always thought, oh, I don't know. This could just fall apart in a sec. I've seen it fall apart in seconds for players with injuries and not being good enough and just slipping out of the game. So I just thought, oh, I just need to at least do some, use the PFA. They would fund the courses for me. So I just think, well, I just use that to my advantage. And whilst I've got that time on the coach or after training, I just do a course and get it under my belt. So I haven't
super sensible, isn't it, for being that age.
From like parentage when you were younger, they get a tried or get a proper job or make sure you got something to fall back
No,
on.
not particularly. My parents were just happy for me to do whatever I wanted to do. So it's just kind of, they weren't sports inclined whatsoever. So how the hell I become a footballer, I just do not know. I just think it was a different, it's just a different scenario then, wasn't it? We didn't have computers, we didn't have phones. If I had a computer and a phone, I wouldn't have been a footballer. I'd have had nothing probably. But Yeah, so I'd just be out with my mates all day, every day, just with the football or American football or cricket ball, just doing sports every single day. And this went on for years. I did this until I literally signed for Cambridge. Even at 16, 17, I'd go and play squash or badminton, just doing something all the time. 'Cause there's nothing else to do. So it was sports. So you kind of then, I
Yeah.
can play basketball, I can play tennis, I can play
Turn your hand
sport,
to
I can
anything.
kind of do, do it all. I enjoy it all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It reminds me of when we had John McCarthy on there, and he was of a similar mindset, wasn't he? That he was mindful that he needed to get this education and stuff. And the similar thing, really, he had kind of what he called imposter syndrome, where he thought, "What am I doing? What are they seeing?" And but I think that's important now, and it's being kind of rammed home to the kids now to be that way, because it's easier to not be that way these days.
it's really hard for them because it's like bright lights and money, and it's like, wow, I don't need to do anything now. I'm going to be a footballer, and 10 years or 20 years is so far away. I don't need to worry about it. And it just can, 20 years. I might have had a 20-year career, which is, players don't, not many players reach a 20-year career. So, it falls, you do need something to back it up. And, if you've got a wise head on you, then it's sensible to do that. But I do understand the flip side of the coin where,
There's a lot more money now, isn't there, at the youth end of the sky, especially around the Premier League.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Like I said, I was at
championship.
Cambridge. I was on pennies. I was on about started off. After my digs came out of my wages, I was on about 60 quid a week, and it was like, I'm ringing the missus. I'm 50. My money's about to run out. I've got 50p left. My money's about to run out. I was doing that for years. So,
And was it kind of the YTS mold that you've got to go and do jobs and you've got to do?
well,
bits
no,
and
because I
pieces,
didn't.
or-
I was 18, wasn't I?
Of
So I
course.
didn't do the YTS.
So you
So I
missed that
signed
period.
just as first year pro. But they were doing. They were, so some of those YTs are just doing their second year YT. I became good friends with, and they were still doing those roles. So sweeping up changing rooms, they'd go and clean up the stadium after a game, and it was great. And then they'd clean boots, and they needed to do that. And everything's wrapped in cotton wool now. They don't do anything, so which is a shame because come Christmas we give them a tip. That's how it works. And the bigger the player, the bigger your tip you get, isn't it? So, which I thought was really good for the kids. It gave them a understanding of, it's not just turn up and play football. You got a little bit of responsibility, and they understand the process. But that's all.
And being in and around you guys it comes across as it was super important at the time. Whereas now there's complexes for the 21s, there's complex for the 18s, and everyone's kind of away from each other. Whereas then you're rubbing shoulders and you.
Yeah, you think what a
You're living
shame,
the
what a
life with
shame.
them.
So then it makes it easier for them when they make that transition of kind of academy or first year pro to come and train with the first team, or or the main squad.
Yeah.
It's bridged that gap because you've been speaking to them all season because they've been cleaning your boots, or they're just in and around the place, which is really good. But yes, I don't think you there isn't that anymore, is it? There's no kind of they don't work together, and it's kind of kept separate. So then when they do step into that role of having to train with the first team, then it's like, wow,
A
it's
huge
like,
gulf.
It's like a punishment as well, isn't it, for like recouping all players that are 4 now 5 first team to train with the under 21s as well.
Yeah.
So where that should be something that's a massive like lift for the kids. It's kind of they're going down, they're trying with the under 21s. It's always like you fall out the manager trying with the 21s, isn't it? Can't be
We had
bad
never
for
had
the
21s when we
No.
when I played them.
Just reserves.
Kind of reserves, which I thought was brilliant. I don't understand the concept of a 21s team. I think if I'm 21 and I ain't knocking on the door and in that first team, then this club ain't for me. I need to be at a club where I'm so at that age I need to be in the first team, not playing under 21s, which unless you're 18 playing under 21s, it's completely different there. If I'm 21 playing under 21s, then I'm at the wrong place. So but the reserves I thought was brilliant because you'd have players, experienced players. Well, like we played against Liverpool, and I'm sure Steven Gerrard came back from an injury, so it gave players which were young lads, which play in a reserve team, the opportunity to play against such a massive player like that, and to play alongside kind of more experienced pros from our team, which helped their game. But that's
I think the reason now, personally, is because the way of loans is so it's so expensive, and you can make a lot of money from the loans, can't you? So if you've got these kids then under 21s, then and you want to loan them out, it's monopolising, and Chelsea done it, didn't they? And Liverpool do it, and I think it's more of a farming exercise for the kids
and it's a
than
shame.
trying to get them into the first team.
And I needed to play. If I got an injury, I needed to play in the reserves like for 3 or 4 games to get back up to speed. I could not just go straight back into the first team. Expect to be the same as I was just before I got injured. I needed to get catch up with the speed of the game. So it took 2 or 3 games for me personally. So I can't imagine I'm the only person that was like that. So yeah, the reserves was brilliant. We were up at Sunderland. It was like a Premiership reserve team, Premiership League of reserves, and we were playing Liverpool, Man United. We played Man United at Sunderland to win that reserve league, and there was like 15,000 fans at the game. It's like absolutely brilliant, and that's how good it was.
So tell us then how the move to Sunderland came about.
Yeah, I was 4 years at Cambridge. I just progressed. I think I became the captain. And that was it. I think I went back on might be just the pre-season of my 5th season, and they were like, "Oh, Sunderland want you to go up and have a trial." I went up, had a trial for 2 weeks, and then I went back to Cambridge to train as usual and carry on. And then I got a phone call saying, "Yeah, they're going to sign you."
And what was the kind of the time between going up and then just kind of going to play the band?
Literally about a week, and then that was it. They had a pre-season friendly. Cambridge did. I thought, right, I'll sit and watch this, and I'm literally half-time jumped in my car and drove up to Sunderland, and never turned back. It was a bit crazy, really, because I went up to Sunderland in my Robert Vanden Pla.
Was it Peter Reid that signed you?
Yeah, Peter Reid. Yeah.
What's he like? He's always coming.
He's exactly as you think he is. Yeah. So, he gave him opportunity. He was brilliant. It was him and Bobby Saxton. So Bobby Saxton would do all the kind of talking. He'd be the hand on your shoulder, and Peter Reid would be the,
To be honest.
Yeah, exactly. So, but fantastic, and they, I had some great times up there, and we did. We had some, finished 7th twice in the Premiership, and
because that was a promotion of 105 points.
Yeah,
makes obviously the Blues got lauded for 111 last year, didn't they? Which was League One, which doesn't really amount. So I don't really see how it's comparable to the Championship or anything like that. 105, so that was, and the football you played as well.
Some good players, yeah. People say, "Oh, who's the best player you play with?" And it wasn't a player; it was 2 players. It was Kev Phillips and Niall Quinn. They were phenomenal up there. Quinn is so good; it's ridiculous. He's. You think, he's just a big lad that heads the ball, but his touch was phenomenal. Everything about him, and then Kev won the Golden Boot, and everything he touched literally went in the back of the net. And couldn't be like, right, this is where I'll put the ball for you, just score. And they did. And they were, you don't get that now, like a partnership, which works so well. And their partnership was phenomenal. So, it was a privilege to be in that team. And someday, when we were like flying high in the Premiership, I literally sit at the back going, "Oh, this is so easy." I'm just going to win my headers, win my tackles. There you go, Alex Ray, Kevin Ball. Have it. That you go and play football, and I'll just
Kevin Ball into play as well, wasn't it?
Oh, it's hard as nails. Every team needs a Kevin Ball, but we had a Kevin Ball and an Alex Ray, and Alex Ray was hard as nails as well. So to have both of them in the same team was and that's why we did so well. So just absolutes.
Well, Quinn and Phillips, it's then emulated, wasn't it, throughout the years? Then it was the mould, wasn't it? It was the mould of which to play off. And
I think you were everyone's second favourite team at that point as well.
So
it was so refreshing.
It was attractive football, wasn't it? And it was that you were like the good guys of obviously going up. Then you were upsetting people, weren't you, in that Premier League season?
It was good. We're doing really well, and. Some couple of seasons where we finished 7th, we would always take us just after Christmas. He'd take us to Mottram Hall for a week on the piss, right? And it'd be like, and I'd be like, "We don't need to go for a week on the piss. Like, we need to just." Because I think one year we were like 3rd in the Premiership and went to Mottram Hall, and we'd never won a game once we got back there. We'd been on the piss, so we never won a game the rest of the season, and we finished 7th. I'm thinking, well, if we hadn't been on the piss, we'd have.
This is why we finished 7th, because
yeah. So it looks absolutely great, but I'm pretty sure we could have finished higher than that.
Or won the French. Yeah.
But it's completely changed now. That wouldn't happen anymore. So
who were the characters in that side? Who were so Alex Ray, obviously.
Yeah, Alex Ray.
I bet a couple of them boys could see
you away.
Well. They liked a Guinness. Quinny loved the Guinness. Yeah, Kev Phillips, obviously. Then you'd have who would you have? Nicky Summerby. He was when he was quality. Mickey Gregg, Chris Making. who did I play at the back alongside? Oh, Daz Williams, so he was a younger lad, so he was quality. Tommy Sorensen in goal. So yeah, we had a good setup, good bunch of lads. Yeah.
We was talking about this the other day to someone, that Mickey Gray, every time you mention Mickey Gray, and he says it on TalkSport, doesn't he? It's that penalty, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's mad how things stick. I'm not even a Sunderland fan, or I'm not got any affinity, but it's just moments that stick out for you throughout life, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he says he's had to live with that, hasn't he, for
yeah.
forever. But in the grand scheme of things, it didn't really matter, did it?
It didn't. No, it didn't. And I think maybe I always think back. I don't think we were quite ready anyway to go into the Premiership. So maybe it'd been a blessing in disguise, because the following year we absolutely stormed the league, and then we went up and did pretty well in the Premiership. So
yeah,
we probably weren't quite ready. So
yeah, because that's what happened with Derby, wasn't it? The year when they set that record, Billy Davies, victim of their own success, weren't they? Because they shouldn't have really gone up.
Yeah,
and they did, and they were not equipped for it all, and now they carry that. Yeah, that record, don't they?
Yeah, that's horrible moniker. Yeah,
the Wolves have only just avoided. So how did the move then to Wolves come about from?
Tenuous link. I like that. Did you like that? I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. How did it come about?
Yeah.
Well, we were.
Did you go out on loan when you were at Sunderland?
Yes, I went to Sheffield United on loan.
Yeah, you popped out on loan.
Yeah, I went for.
Did you know then that you weren't in and around, or what?
I was only a young boy, so I was only maybe I was 6 years at Sunderland, so in my second season. So I was only a young lad, so I wasn't expecting to be in the first team. So to go out on loan, I'd obviously played in that reserve team, and it was Adrian Heath that ran the team, and he obviously really liked me as a player. So and he would then went and managed Sheffield United. So he was like, right, come along, get me there. And I had a month, and then Stan Vargo was centre half, got injured at the Wolves, and then I came in, and that was it. I played like 4 years after that, and I never turned back, and that was it. That was
just like sliding doors, mate.
Yeah,
exactly. That was my point. It's just like,
wait for
could happen there. Yeah.
So that's how.
So when did you get the call about Wolves?
Wolves, we were on the Sunderland we were getting relegated, and Mick McCarthy came in like a couple of months just before the end of the season. Yeah, and they just same with every Premiership team, they have to get rid of a few players. I don't know what. I wasn't like I was a player on loads of money at all, because that wasn't the case. But obviously, your Quinn Kevin Phillips would have been on better paid than I was. So it wasn't like they were getting me off the books because I was on that money. I just think they were, someone's come in and they wanted a player, and
would you have just kind of got your head down and played again in the Championship and gone again?
Love Sunderland.
You're not like
I was never thinking, right, we need to get away from here. But Wolves knocked on the door, so I'm thinking, right, okay, this is an opportunity to stay in the Premiership, which makes perfect sense as a player. So
and also less than an hour from my house.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a bit of a circle. So, I had family in the Midlands. So, it kind of made sense. But I've always said I'd have happily stayed at Sunderland for the rest of my career. It was never an issue. I wasn't a player that I was always looking for a move and wanted to go.
On the door.
Yeah, that's why I've only ever had 3 clubs in my whole career. So, for me to stay there would have been absolutely fine. I would have loved it there. I did love it there, and I would have happily stayed there. And to move on, and it was a bit of a circle, come back down to the Midlands. Was and stay in the Premiership, because that's where you want to. Yeah, it's where you want to play. Yeah, that's where you want to play.
So even before we go to Wolves, then, so with all the success that you had, and then all of a sudden that success starts to ebb away, and you see the form kind of over time, you can start to look down rather than up. How does that? What's the reasoning for that time with Sunderland? Do you think what was the catalyst to?
Yeah, it's always a tough one. It just something doesn't click. A couple of different Peter Reid got the sack. Different players come in, they didn't quite work, and it's not nothing against them. They just, if they get brought in, they don't work. It doesn't work. It's as simple as that. So then the finger gets pointed at Peter Reid for you've brought in, say, Nicholas Medina. You pay 7 million for him, and yet he's hardly even played. Spent any time on the pitch. I think Quinny got an injury, so he was difficult to replace. So then you kind of lose that partnership with.
Yeah, it's a very unique way. So that if you take one of those cogs,
so it just, it just, I don't know. It was like a gradual slide. So it wasn't like one season down. It was like, I could see it in the season before. I thought, we stayed in the Premiership only just about, and then it just started to slide, and and you can't do enough. Once that slip starts, you couldn't get out of it. So
you tend to find that, don't you? Like with West Ham now. it's not a shock thing, is it? That, oh no, it's a bad season. It is. You see it happen as a pattern, isn't there?
Yeah, gradually.
It seems to be. Once you kind of hit that funk over a couple of seasons, it's only going to end up. My Tottenham are probably looking at West Ham or a season ahead of them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's about, it's tough for a manager because you've got to find some gems. And, he brought in Julio Arca, and he was a gem. He was quality. And, so then he's, you're looking for the next Julio Arca as well. So he brings in Nicholas Medina, and he unfortunately, he wasn't the next Julio Arca. So, sitting and chasing somebody else and looking for another player,
But all his scouting suggests that is the player we need, and then it just doesn't work out.
So sometimes in like a Milton Nunes who didn't work, and every time you shoot and miss, there becomes another kind of thorn in the side, doesn't it? In India. So so then you start to slip. But if you can find a gem, like Mick McCarthy did at the Wolves, you'd find gems like Michael Kiteley and Matt Jarvis and Ali Keogh. You find these gems and they all gel together, you end up being phenomenal. So
yeah. It happens to, going back, it happened to Cov and Southampton, teams like that they're constantly just missing the cut, aren't they? And and then the players must just think, well, here we go again, kind of thing. Then I think it's not even a mentality thing, is it? Sometimes you just have to, like you say, one player can turn it. Like you just mentioned, like Jarvis and Kiteley were just like amazing, weren't they?
Yeah, and we got Sylvan Banks Blake as well. He signed it from Charlton, and people say, "Who's the best player you play with at Wolves?" And I'm like, "Wow, it was Sylvan, and it was for one season. And it was that season we got promoted into the Championship. He was absolutely phenomenal.
Didn't he score a few against? I think he used to love net.
If he could have done that his whole career, he'd have been like unbelievable. But he did it for one season at the Wolves, and he was phenomenal. And he picked up a couple of injuries after that, and really struggled to kind of get back to that form. But so, and he was another absolute gem. That
he was a handful as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
So who was it that signed you for Wolves? Who did you
Dave Jones signed me at Wolves. So I knew they were interested, and I was waiting on they played Sheffield United in the playoff final. I was just waiting on a result of that. If they got promoted, then yes, they'd be signing me. And if they didn't get promoted, obviously they wouldn't be signing me. So I was watching that one on telly with a great one.
That carried a bit of interest for you.
So they got promoted and I signed. Simple as that. So and then I had 10 years at the Wolves.
And then you said Mick was back in.
Mick came back in, yeah.
Oh, Joe's all right. Oh,
yes,
nice.
Yes. So
what's Mick McCarthy like as the manager?
Great. I've always said he's my no disrespect to any other manager I've been there. They've all been great, but Mick was he'd been a centre half. He kind of understood me. He was helped my game, and I think a few players have said that about Mick. That's he's been their favourite player to be coached by.
You watched that film yet?
No, I don't know if to or not. I don't know if it'll be.
I haven't watched it.
I don't know. I probably won't. But
I can imagine that them two as characters. It's just.
To be fair, I saw one of his clip from one of his after dinner, like sporting dinner speeches, where he said, "Just look at it. The size difference is completely wrong between the two actors. So if that doesn't look in any way, it doesn't represent Roy Keane to me." But it must be a weird thing to kind of have something come out like that without any kind of input from you, but it's about you.
Oh, didn't even have any input?
No.
Oh, I thought well, there you go. See, I won't watch it because I don't know the ins and outs of what actually happened. Then, if I go and watch that film, then I'll be thinking, well, that's what happened, and that's not, it probably isn't what happens. So,
no.
So no, I won't be watching it.
No. Who's the so Championship and Prem? You've played against some players. Who's the toughest striker that you've faced, or who's that give you a nightmare? And
well, so in the Prem there was always Thierry Henry was quality, wasn't he? So
I can imagine.
How do you even mark him when he's dropping off? And
well, he used to play in behind the back four, so we play in that offside position. You have to be really brave, and you have to step up because he wants you to keep dropping back. So but you can't. You got to stay up, and he wants to just he's really he'll run along the line and cuts in. So not only is he rapid,
you've got to be watertight.
You know he's coming back out, and then you're in a foot race with him when he does.
You got to come back on. So you got to be really brave and kind of and have a good relationship with your partner so you can deal with that. But on the flip side of the coin, I played against a lad at Plymouth called Roy Fallon, who was a nightmare to play against. Go down to Plymouth pre-season, it'd be about 35 degrees. This skin doesn't like it, trust me. I know I'd have him just literally wanting to batter me for the whole game. And he always stands out as one of a really tough, awkward centre forward to play against. So that's the flip side.
Elbows and
yeah, exactly.
and
Yeah, and he just
beds
want to
and-
kind
yeah.
of kick the crap out of me for 90 minutes. But yeah,
But then ironically, didn't Kev then kind of haunt Wolves with every other club around the Midlands for the next 10 years of his life?
pretty much so. Yeah, I think he scored against the Wolves a few times,
Yeah.
didn't he?
It was he scored twice, didn't he, for Blues?
Yeah.
And we turned it around. And I remember Mick McCarthy's interview afterwards where he said, "Oh, what do you think about Kevin Phillips?" He said, "I'm not going to blow smoke up his arse. We all know he's a good player."
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he had the privilege to play alongside him, and then he haunted me for the rest of my career after that. So.
So training with him at Sunderland didn't really help.
No, he's just a quality player. Playing against this smaller lads was always really. When you play against a big lad, I was up and I was battling, and it was great, and I could get little lads
A
just
low centre of gravity.
awkward because they're not hitting the ball up in the air because he ain't gonna when the header gets me. So they're not gonna put it up in the air. So they're gonna fire it into his feet, and it's like a different type of game you have to deal with. So
But he could score from anywhere as
yeah,
well.
he could. He wasn't just in the box centre forward. He would smack one in from outside the box as well. So.
How would you get on nowadays with the whole pass it out from the goal kick, get the touch on it, give it out, how was your touch?
All right, it had to be,
Yeah.
to an extent. That's why I worked so hard at Cambridge. So it was okay. It kind of got me through my career. It wasn't, I wasn't never a player. I was never pinpointing passes through, splitting midfields. But I could do, I could do enough just to, I was like a workhorse. I would just like give 110% and win on my headers, win on my tackles. When I was younger, I was quick, so that kind of really, they went hand in hand. Yeah. So and I was by the time you end of your latter half of your career comes around, the pacing matters so much because you're more experienced, so you understood of where to be. When I was younger and I was fast, it didn't matter. I was out of position because I could get back and cover myself. But when you're older, you're more experienced, so then it didn't really matter either then. So yeah, I'd just get it out the back and just there you go. You give it to the players that can play football, don't you? So it didn't make much difference. Providing, if you play out from the back, you need midfielders which are really confident, which will pick up the space and come and get the ball. Or you give it to your fullbacks, give it to your midfielders. So yeah, so playing out for the back's easy if you've got the right players in front of you that want the ball. So
It's so frustrating sometimes though for us as fans that we went through a stage where obviously it was widely known about the amount of managers we had and the amount of styles we had, but you're asking players who were not them players, weren't they, to bring it out and pass it around, and you concede most of your goals then from goal kicks because you're just losing it in there then on the press. And
I seen Man City play a FA Cup game a few years ago. I can't even think who they played, but it was a team from a lower division, like a couple of divisions lower. And the team were trying to play out from the back against Man City, and they just got ripped apart. I'm thinking,
just lumpy.
Yeah, just
nothing wrong with a lump, is that?
Lumps into an area. The Sam Allardyce explanation at Bolton was it's not a long ball; it's being played into an area where you can be offensive. Why wouldn't you put it into a pocket where you've got a quick winger and put the pressure then on their defenders?
Oh, there's nothing wrong with a long ball if it's put in the right, like you said, put in the right position.
Play in the right areas, yeah.
Just a lump up to a big centre half is no good because you're going to love that and win it all day. But so yeah,
there's more than one way to play, isn't there?
Definitely, it's a balance. There's a balance of if it needs to go, it goes, and if there's a problem, you talk about it, in the change room. Or if you can pass and you've got the room to, if you've got a team that's pushing you and pressing you, it's really difficult then to you got to be careful playing out from the back.
And again, going back to Quinn and Phillips, the ball was put that ball in that area
because he won every single header. So it was.
So are you going to say that's not the way to play? But you absolutely
so we did because it works so well. But then we also had Mickey Gray. We had such good kind of fullbacks. Left and right midfielders, and they'd link up really well. So Mickey Gray would link up with, so he played on the left. So it'd be Alan Johnson, and those two linked up so well.
Where you loaned him,
he was brilliant. So then you'd have Chris Makin and Nicky Summerby on the right side. So they had such a great partnership that
definitely still
not only could you
jump down the wings,
not only could we go straight out to Quinny's head, that we could just there you go, boys. So we had the alternate as well, which was great. So. And then we press and press and press when we didn't have the ball. And I think that's why we did so well for a couple of years in the Premiership is our press was quite good, yeah.
So with Wolves, 10 years. So you had a testimonial as well. You were in and out. What's reading through your Wikipedia? There were times when you were out the team, but then you came back because you were injured, weren't you?
Yeah, a couple of times. Nothing major though.
Broke your foot.
Yeah, that was that. So that was when we got the promotion season. So we started the season, broke my foot in the first day of the season, just my metatarsal. Yeah, and that kept me out for longer than I wanted to be out. And I think I came back in. The team started off great, and it just started to. I came back in and around like October, November time. The team were just having a bit of a blip and struggling a little bit, and which not great for the team, but for me is trying to get back in. I'm thinking I need to get back in this team. Yeah, I got back in. I think then I don't know. I've been an older player. It just kind of settled us a bit, and we went on and got promoted. So, we had a good run from there, and promotion was the reward at the end of the season.
Any sniff of internationals around when you were?
When I was at Sunderland, possibly. They had England had a B team, didn't they?
Yeah.
And me and Daz Williams were centre half at Sunderland, doing well. And I think we had a sniff, and I literally pulled my hamstring the week before. And Daz went and played for the B team, and that was kind of the closest I got, and it never materialised again after that.
You were in an era of ridiculous centre half, so weren't you as well at the time? So I reckon it was super hard to get in, but at the time with your form, like you say,
yeah.
But
So
again,
I think I was close, but just never happened, which was a shame.
So just one for the one for the Blues fans while we're sitting down here. We talked briefly before about the season. We were in a relegation battle. We played down here. Craig Gardner was sent off for a second booking for diving. The hands of your challenge.
I tell you, yeah, go on.
Pin this one on you. But that season, so you started up that season. So what's kind of the contrast between promotion and relegation, kind of survival versus the elation of promotion? Where do you sit? What's more kind
promotional survival? Yeah,
from the Prem specifically.
Yeah. Well, we stayed in the Prem one year, and we played Blackburn the last game of the season. Yeah, this was like, it was on the balance. We could be last game of the season. It was either relegation or staying in the Premiership, and we could hear the fans what was going on with the score, and all the scores had to go right in the other team for the other teams as well. So we could hear the fans like, and then we were like 2-0 down at I think we were 2-0 down at half time or something, and then second half, we could hear the fans all cheering. So whoever was near us or needed to let in a goal or something had let in a goal. And so all our fans were buzzing. And we got back to 2-1. So goal difference was good for us. So we just needed that better goal difference. So Blackburn were like, without saying, if we keep the ball at this end and win the game, and you just sit off and let us do it. And so it's the most surreal thing I've ever experienced in my whole career. We literally stood at those 10 years. I just stood there. And Blackburn was passable back and forth for 10 minutes or 5 minutes. It felt like 10 minutes, but it was probably minutes. And they won the game, but we stayed in the Premiership. And it was like, yes, I know.
An unspoken thing.
Yeah, it was a bit. Yes, it's odd. You're just staying in the Premiership, but that was like it was a massive thing to just stay in the Premiership, and that felt like being, winning the championship. It felt the same. The fans were on the pitch. It was phenomenal. We stayed in the Premiership, which was every team's ambition. If you're getting promoted, that's where you need to stay, because that's where the big bucks is, and that's where you dream.
That's where the eyes are, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose you can be like, okay, let's go again. Let's do different things next season.
Exactly. So a very surreal end to the season, but you lose a game, but it was we stayed in the Premiership.
Yeah.
You didn't score many then, but a recurring theme is whether it's Blues ex-players or West Brom or whoever comes on, everyone seems to score against the Villa. Have you remember your goal against the Villa?
I do.
Talk us through that.
Who crossed it? I can't remember who crossed it. I could have been Java that crossed it. He come in a box, and I think who's in front of me? I can't think of a centre half was in front of me, and he missed it. He's tried to head it and missed it, and it's just back. Come down at the front. I've just swung my left foot, and it's just gone straight in. I think it's brilliant. And that was quite early on in the game, so I'll never forget it.
Excellent. We'll clip that up for the fans.
Definitely clip that up. Yeah, they think that we've got nothing against them, but we're not. It's just the stories come out of Villa, not that we feed you that. Do you know what I mean?
Everyone's got a goal against Villa.
Yeah. So throughout your career, you've had to deal with some really difficult personal challenges, and again at the time it was massive.
Yeah.
and reading through again just for the research for this, it's tragic what happened to your son.
Yeah.
Do you want to go into that just a little bit more? And
Well, there was 2 times. So the first time was Sunderland, where I lost my son Jake to cop death. That was really, really tough. And everyone was fantastic. Sunderland fans were fantastic. So to go for anyone to go for that, not just me as a footballer, yeah, that was a bit of a shock, and that took a while to get over. But as a player, I'm not a player to just sit at home and I just can't sit there and just be sad I just couldn't do it. I went back training after a week, whether it was the right thing or wrong thing. I went and did it. I needed to just go back to training. I went back to training after a week, and it was like great for me. My wife came and to the training ground every day.
have a minute, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, and everyone just stuck by me, and yeah, I think my first game back was against Cambridge United, ironically. So they made me captain for that game, and it was just great to be back playing, because how do you deal with a tough time like that? So I dealt with it by just carry on. I think that's just my nature of how I do things. Just carry on. Just I can't stop and start thinking. I just had to just get on with it and get through it as quick as I could, because it's yeah, I don't need it to.
I remember the football world was just, it was the awareness about it, though, it made everyone, I don't know, it was just a really nice touch from the football world, and even us as Blues fans seeing it.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, brilliant.
We had no affinity to it, but you just like, what would happen? You just think, what would happen if it was us? If it was
How do you deal? There's no way to deal with it. How do you deal with it? Yeah, it's
is that when reading as well? Is that when you lean back into art? Is that when
it was? I just would then sit in the lounge and paint. Selfishly, just sit in the lounge and paint, and it just meant I could just blank my mind out, not forget, but just blank and just focus on something else, and just and that's where it. Then I started to push on from there with the art, but yeah, it's and then it's always been a way to trying to switch off and yeah, albeit selfishly, because I'm painting and I'm switching off, and my wife's still grieving, and so
you've got to find your own way.
You do. So but that's how I dealt with it, and yeah, I think.
Just so happens that you are absolutely amazing at art as well.
Yeah, the more I did, the better I became. So like football, the more I did, the better I became. But live art, the more I did, the better I became. So
was that one of your A levels that you'd
yeah, it was. Yeah, I did A level art and geology, so I can paint rocks, and that's about it. So so yeah. Anyway, and I said there was 2 things.
Yeah, I was going to say if that weren't bad enough.
Yeah, then Toby got leukemia, which was really tough as well, but. He's absolutely brilliant now, and he's absolutely, he's fantastic. So, that was a happy ending, which was great. So, but
you carry on playing football through that.
Well, that was at the end. That was literally the end of my career. To my last season for Wolves, Mick McCarthy got the sack. Solbakken came in. And Toby had leukemia. Was literally in hospital for months on end. So it wasn't an option for me to go somewhere else. It just wouldn't practically work. I didn't want to go anywhere else. It was either Wolves or nowhere. I was still fit enough to play. I mean, tests had been brilliant, and Solbakken was just like, no, I don't want you. So he just literally, I've been there 10 years. He just got rid of me, and brought another lad in, who never even played, who wasn't good enough. So, which was a bitter way to end my career, but I just couldn't go anywhere else. Toby had leukemia. I just couldn't.
Was you balancing that with training then?
I was, but I did it and it worked. It wasn't like I was missing training. It happened at the end of the season, so it was, and I was injured. But and then in the off season, I still kept fit, and I still was down the hospital. So it kind of worked. It wasn't a matter of I was in the hospital with Toad for days on end. And I couldn't go training. No, I'd still be training. Should I be at the hospital? I'd go straight over to the hospital. It wouldn't be an issue. I could still deal with that. So it didn't affect the football. But if I was to move club, you would have, because I wouldn't. Toby was in Bergkamp Children's Hospital, and I couldn't have if I'd have moved across the country, it would just wouldn't have worked.
So unless it was someone like Walsall or Blues or.
How did that work with the club then? Because I'd seen previously from your interviews regarding Solback and the way you were treated. How did that work then to kind of with the testimonial and the relationship with the club?
We always had a good relationship with the club, and they offered, they just rang me up and said, look, we'd like to offer you a testimonial, and simple as that. Yeah.
So they had a mind Granger with it, didn't actually pay for it.
So yeah. So
did he have a chat with you? Did he pull you and have a chat with you, or was it just a phone call? Solback?
No, I went in the first day of training. I went into the first day of training. Like I said, I was as fit as I was 30. How old was I at that point? 37. I was as fit as I'd ever been. You do all your VO2 tests before you go back that first day. My tests were as good as they'd ever been. So there was no doubt of fitness and nothing. I was more than fit enough to play, and I would have helped the team that year. Maybe I wouldn't have played every game, but I'd a good portion of that season. I just went in off that first day. I just went in and said, look, my son's in hospital. If you're going to, they were going on pre-season at the weekend to, I think it might have been Ireland or River. And I said, look, if you ain't going to give me a fair crack of the whip, what's the point of me coming? He'd already said at the end of the season, because he'd come in to see the lads, he said, look, come back pre-season, I'll give you a trial. I think, trial, I've been in 9 years now, I'm having a trial. So I went in that day and I said, look, my son's in hospital, so, where do I stand? Because I'm not going to Ireland if you ain't going to sign me. He went, no, I'm not signing you. I went, all right. So then that was it. Then I just literally walked out, and that was it. End of my career. I got in the car and drove home. I have Jez Moxie ringing me saying, what's going on? Why are you leaving me? But I'm saying, are you kidding me? He just literally got rid of me. Club could have signed me for pennies. I mean, not as in, the club put me on a contract for a year for like £90 a week, just to say to get me to 10 years so you can have your testimonial. But they could have made me the, a sensible, lowest paid player in the team without a shadow. That I would have took it. It wouldn't have been an issue. I would have played, and I would have helped them out. They got relegated from the Championship that year. I would have helped them out. It would have,
Well, even just to have you around,
Well, what's that like as well? Because we've had Roger Johnson on, obviously Blues hero, not so much at Wolves.
Yeah.
Well, he went in on big money, didn't he, to Wolves?
Yeah.
And what's it like then, where you can't get in the team, or you've got players on big money underperforming, and you got Wolves at heart, you could step in and do a...
Yeah, frustrating. Yeah, because I'm at home watching it and I'm thinking, I could have helped this team out. I really could have, and they just slipped and slipped and slipped, and you could see what was happening. I'm thinking I could have helped them out, and they could have, the club could have put me on the contract. The manager, they could have just said, we've put him on a contract, just let him train me. I would have thought, I'd have forced my way into the team. Wouldn't have been an issue. The manager, I'm pretty sure he's gone, we'll stick him in. He's good enough. He's better than what we've got. And so I kind of blame the club a bit. Yeah, the manager's just doing his. He wanted to bring his player in. Yes, he brought, no disrespect to foreigners, but they brought him in Championships, a bloody tough place to play, and they just couldn't cut the mustard, so to speak. And but the club could have signed me.
Okay, so because Jez Moxie, that time, he was the Mr. Wolves.
He pulled the strings. Yeah, he pulled the strings. They could have put me on a contract and just said, look, he's your player for a year. If you don't want to play him, don't play him. But I'm pretty sure I would have been involved.
Again, with your licenses and stuff, looking back, I would imagine that you would be someone who would be in the club a bit like Bully, like just kind of being in and around, do you know what I mean? And kind of with the service that you've give.
Yeah, it never happened. It was
mad, isn't it?
At the end of that, I kind of walked out the door. It never happened. They never said, oh, look, do you want to come and coach the academy? We're going to do something. It just never happened. I don't, So, yeah, one of them, isn't it? So then I went into my art, and I thought, right, okay, nothing's on the table in terms of football, so I'll go into my art.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll have a
good link as well.
Yeah.
Tell us about your art.
Yeah, well,
I've seen it on Insta, the class.
Yeah. I've done it as A level, I wasn't great. I just scraped my A level. I got a D in A level. And then when I went to Cambridge, I couldn't afford anything. So I was just pencil and paper, do a few sketches. When I went to Sunderland, I had a bit more money and a bit more time. So I self-taught myself, oil painting. I used to watch Bob Ross. Everyone knows Bob Ross. Yeah. If you've got AI on your phone now, you know about Bob Ross. So, I just watch him and think, I can do that. And I thought I couldn't do it. I literally couldn't do it. But I thought, right, I'd teach myself to do it. And I'd just go home after training. And
we was more of a Tony Hart guy.
I watched Tony as well.
No, I used to like Bob Ross.
Yeah.
You tried to paint them forests with him, or even just draw them. You'd be like, "Hang on,
Made it
you weren't pausing and
There's no-
rewinding them, was you?"
I watched every episode every single day, like half-hour episodes, weren't they? I think, yeah, I can do this. I couldn't. It was so hard. It was such a mess when I tried it. If you didn't buy his paints and his brushes, you couldn't do it. But then I spent like football. I just spent years. Thought, right, I'm gonna crack this. So I literally taught myself everything. Watercolors. Acrylic with acrylics. I paint with oil paint. So I literally taught myself everything. So
How do you go from I quite like doing this to someone sees it? What was the process between someone for you just painting for yourself, someone seeing it, and then you flogging them? You've sold a couple of pieces to Mick McCarthy at the time, haven't you?
yeah, that was it. So when I lost Jake, I painted, literally sat in the lounge and painted. And I think I had a Paul Kerr, who's my financial advisor. He literally came over to see me and went, "Hey, these are really good. You need to do something with this." I'd never done it to sell or anything. I just did it as a hobby. And he went, "Oh, I'll ring someone. You need to go on, like, I think it was like Up North, it was called up there, the program." Just went on there, showed my paintings, and kind of slowly went from there. And as I got better at painting, and the lads brought a couple, and I've come like a million miles since the quality back then.
Well, yeah. Well, now you've hit this kind of niche, haven't you? Where it's cards, and
But yeah,
you showed us the card. I don't know if you've still got the cards there. If we can,
yeah.
kind of see that, yeah.
Cards. So this is just something I'm doing at the moment. Trading cards are crazy. People buy bits, and I bought them myself. They're crazy. So I thought, right, but I'll paint one. I'll paint on one and see what response it gets, and people love them. Especially it is Sunderland fans. Yeah, so I've done them for the Wolves fans and Sunderland. Now at the moment it's Sunderland fans. So I'm in a card trading group, a Sunderland card trading group, and they're great people because all Sunderland supporters. So I'm chatting with them, and when I've done one, I show them, and they're buying them. So great, but that isn't my main stuff. I've done all kinds of different stuff. I've had a main kind of range of stuff which I take to art fairs. It's just been a lot of football stuff over the last 5 or 6 months because I've done the Jota pieces at the Molineux, which were pretty special. So I kind of come from.
How does that come about? A lot of the Jota stuff.
They just contacted me, after Jota and Andre lost their lives. They contacted me because they'd had a ton of flowers that were left outside the stadium, and they got the flowers and they turned them into paints, basically. So into a black and a gold paint, and said, "Look, we've got these paints. We'd like you to do a painting for us, a tribute to them, which we can put up in a Stone stand." And so these paintings are big, like they're really big. So I'm like, great, what an honor for me to do that. So
Is it quite surreal that the kind of even the full circle movement of Liga and not being offered another contract, and now you're back there, working in a completely different field for them.
I did pictures for them years ago, which they have all up the stairs, gone to the museum. I did the program covers for them, so I've always had that link with them. I've never held it against them. The way that ended. I love the Wolves. I still go to the games when I can. So yeah, to have that link with them is really nice because the museum are great. The museum put my work up in there, so they want to work with me. They want to keep that bond and that relationship, which is great because then it helps me, sell my artwork, which it's a bloody tough world to be in. And I wouldn't recommend becoming an artist if you want to.
Well, I was one of the bits that I was looking at before you came on was the Sun article a couple of years ago. I think it was 2018. You painted the burgers, and you were showing how you were teaching your lads to paint.
I'm teaching my son to paint,
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so it was a couple of years ago. So I'd sit with him. So he's 22 now. So he was 9 years old at the time. And he was quite into it, quite arty, quite into it. But to get a 9-year-old to sit there with you and paint for hours, it just wouldn't work. So he'd be like running in the lounge watching Ben 10 and kids. And I'm like, this is hard work, But we'd sit there for hours on end, and we just literally. I'd do a bit, and he'd be copying me, and that's all it was, as simple as that. And when it got to really tough bits, I'd just help him out a little bit. Yeah, and even in sold his, he was selling his. Every time he'd do one, he'd just sell it, 150 quid, 150 quid. He wasn't even bothered about painting, he just wanted the money.
You're like, anyone want one of mine?
Yeah, you want to buy my one, please?
I've done most of that.
Yeah, exactly.
He takes all the money. He's like, yeah, cheers, Dad.
So he was selling it. We turned up at someone's house in near us, and they bought a painting. They was like, "So good, I'm just going to pay you more money." I'm like, "What? No one's ever done that. Give you more money because they liked it so much." But yeah, so he didn't become an artist. He became a jeweler. So he's an absolute phenomenal jeweler. He works at Hockley Mint in Birmingham, and yeah, he makes his own jewelry and does all that. So there was an artistic side
There's
to
still the
him, which
creativeness.
then went into, obviously painting wasn't his thing, but yeah, the jewelry side was his thing. So yeah, he's a fantastic jeweler. So
That's
and he's
a
a
thing though, even being able to get, especially now with iPads are an absolute disease. YouTube and iPads for small kids, be able to get them to sit down and do something.
yeah.
There's no concentration levels. I've got kids of my own.
No, it's hard. And so if you can imagine trying to get a lad to do a painting, an oil painting.
Yeah, just listening to you saying that, then I'm picturing my head and absolutely.
But why don't you try that with Jackson? Just sitting down and doing an oil painting. You'd end up wearing it.
All over my head.
You'd end up wearing
I'll
it.
be buying stuff in 2 minutes strong.
He did it. We did a burger, which he sold. We did a wolf, which he sold. We did. What else?
Yeah, I saw those.
We did a few, which, we did a John Lennon, and they would look so good. I'm like, looking at my phone thinking, it's virtually as good as my one, like, so.
Begrudgingly.
Yeah. And if he'd have stuck with it, he would have been selling them for fortunes now, because they'd have been buying,
Does he do it on the side? Does he ever go on the side? Or is this completely?
Didn't like it.
No,
Didn't like
just
it one bit.
Yeah.
All he wanted was the money from it, so which was great at the time for him. But
what's the main aim for you with the arse? Because you've exhibited already, haven't you? So
yeah,
what's the ceiling on what you want to do and where you want to go with it?
just to keep selling. It's really important that I keep selling. It's not. I love painting, so for me to, I just love to paint, so I have to keep painting, and I have to keep selling them. I'm not a painter where I think this is all I do. This is the only thing I'm going to paint. If you don't buy it, you don't buy it. No, it's commercial. I do need to sell the work, so I have a couple of ranges which. People become inside the football stuff, and they, people who like the football stuff won't buy. I like do statues with graffiti on, so they won't buy that stuff. So I think there's a couple of different ranges, but I want to get to the point where literally, the order book is stacked up, and it's as simple as that.
So would you do requests from other clubs, other fans?
Yeah, I do.
Other fans can reach out to you.
Yeah, definitely. That's what they
do.
do. So they'll see these, and then someone will go, "Oh, I'd really like. Could you do this?" I've done. Yeah. So I work on commissions as well. So, which is great. So every time I do something like the jot a piece, and people see it and go, "Oh, I'd like, can you paint a picture of my son or my daughter or my family?" And I'll do that. So yeah, I'll take on commissions, and
it's quite refreshing to see, because I see all the bad drawing and all the deliberately jokey pictures that do quite well. It's nice to see some actual proper art that's appreciated.
Well, I kind of submitted. I tried to apply to be a Tops artist, because they have Tops artists. I'm looking at them thinking some are good, and there's some which I look at and think, I could do better than that.
I could come in and
do better than that. So, but so I applied, and you have to apply, and you have to send. So you apply for, do you want to do Disney, Marvel, football, other sports, basketball, whatever. So if you want to apply for Disney, you'd send in 4 pictures, 4 this size pictures for them to see. So I thought, right, I can do all of them. So I just sent in about 20 pictures, and I got turned out. I'm like, okay, well, I think if these would look pretty good, and I'm not too sure I'm selling these. So why wouldn't you want to sell? I'm thinking, I have been the captain in the Premiership football team as well. That kind of goes.
It's a
I
nice.
think they'd be quite sought after things. Well, no, it was a no. So I think,
so now we've got a problem with Tops. So we'll prove them wrong.
Tops. What you think about even Panini? Come on, guys.
Thinking about they're big fans of this podcast. I think Tops and Panini. So
this is the last year Panini have got the license for.
Is it
World Cup and that, isn't it?
Oh, okay. They've done it for years upon end, haven't they? Sticker book. Even I collected the sticker books.
First language we've been alive.
You stand on foilies.
I'm not.
Oh, shinies are foily. We used to call them foilies.
Oh, okay. There's so much different stuff. It's ridiculous. Like I said, I'm in this Sunderland card trading group, and the amount of stuff that's got, look, foils, they're kind of hologram. There's so many different cards. There's one of 50, one of 200, and I'm looking at these cards thinking, God, my God, that's such big business. It's ridiculous. When we were kids, it was just the one card. Now it's like 10 versions of the one card. Now you can get, obviously you get fans would go and get these cards signed at games, and they've even kind of managed to limit that now by putting, there's like a small like sticker they put on the front, and then the players sign it. So they've even managed to tap into that side of it, and
So you're not even damaging the card.
yeah. So even the fans can't really, but they do go and get them signed. But it's
Yeah.
now the Tops have even stepped onto that and taken on that under their wing as well, which is great. But so yeah, the amount of different cards, and you can buy the printing. They use obviously metal printed plates for them, so you can even get your hands on
What was it? What was the award show in America the other week? And the guy had it round his neck, and they're saying it's like $2.5 million.
Oh, that would
or
have been
something.
that crazy
Pokemon
Pokemon
one.
cards. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's a lad
crazy,
from
isn't it?
there's a lad from
Size.
Birmingham who I met in the casino a couple of weeks ago, and he's a trader on it. And he was the guy. Did you ever see the darts player walking through, and he got him to open a pack as he was walking
Oh,
through?
okay. I
One
didn't.
of the world darts.
Yeah, he was the guy that done that. But I've looked at his TikTok, and he's it's ridiculous and
Massive, massive
it's
business.
just I see the some of the American stuff where they go into the pawn shops and stuff, and they're going over there, and it must just come up on my algorithm now because I'm seeing them quite a lot recently. And they're going, "This is worth 100 grand." It's like a car.
It's crazy.
It's like 100 grand in like a plastic thing, and
Utterly crazy,
Mm.
and I get it as well.
Yeah.
And it's once they're hooked. Thing is, once they're hooked in, they're like hooked in, and they're, once they get a good card, they want another good card, and then
well, the thing
Yeah.
with yours, it's going to be limited edition. That yours is hand. It's not. There's no printing in there.
Oh
It's
no,
hand. It's
these
the
are one of ones.
yeah,
and,
one of one. Yeah.
yeah. So they're quite popular, but others might look at it and go, "Well, you've just defaced that. You've just drawn on that and defaced it." But
Art is divisive.
exactly. So
Mm. So looking back on everything you've experienced in football and life, what are you most proud of?
my family. It was always for the family. Yeah. So to sit down every day and have a meal with the boys and my family is massively, massively important. So that's my number one. This is what I'm proudest of. But yeah, becoming a footballer was a big thing. I always wanted to be a footballer. I didn't know how to become a footballer, how it worked, about caddies, any of that stuff. So to then kind of come to football the route I did, literally a lad that would play, I'd jump on my bike and ride 5 miles to go and play for Christchurch every Saturday afternoon, and then go out and piss on a Saturday night. I loved it. It was absolutely brilliant. But then to become that professional and forge a career for 20 years I'm massively proud of it, because I know looking at it now how difficult it is to get into the game, stay in the game, and forge a career and make some of it. The money's at the top of the leagues, in the Premiership and the Championship. It's good money. It gets harder the lower down you get. So I know how difficult it is to make money in the game, sustain, try and sustain a life after football, and but then even harder for players even lower who have to juggle a job and play football. There's that balance. So then players don't go into football because, well, I've got a job. If I grab this job, I've then got to travel, from here to Manchester on a Tuesday night and play
Throw
football.
misses and kids into the mix.
Exactly, it's
just,
really
it's impossible,
difficult.
isn't it?
So for me to go in, I know it was a bit different when I was 18. I had a girlfriend who was my wife now. And you make it work. We didn't have kids at that young age, and you make it work. And it was never about the money. It was always about, I just loved playing football. So they're my two biggest things. Being a dad and having a family, and becoming a footballer and making it work, being a success.
It's like 1%, isn't it, that make it? But then you've made it. You not only made it, but you've made it at the elite level, and you weren't out of place. So finishing 7th in the Premier League twice at the promotions. So you didn't just make up the numbers, did you?
No, exactly. It's about playing the Premiership. Who doesn't want to? For me, it's the best league in the world. I played against some of the best players.
Again in the best era. Yeah.
Yeah, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Robin van Persie, Dennis Bergkamp. I played against these players. When I was 18. I played against Cantona. Oh no, what's going on here? I just literally signed for Cambridge. Well, I've been a year at Cambridge. It was my second season, and they had a pre-season against Man United. All those players, Brian McClare, Mark Hughes, like Eric Cantona. And I'm thinking, this is pretty weird. This is, I'm like, just turned 19 a year ago. I was doing my A levels at down in Bournemouth, and here I am playing against Eric Cantona, and then there's my mum having a photo with me at the end of the game. It's like, what's going on? Just nuts.
You mentioned some players there. Who was the dirtiest? Because you mentioned Van Nistelrooy and Shearer, the dark arts about it, didn't he?
Shearer was the dirtiest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen that down here.
Yeah, he was the dirtiest. He'd be trying to elbow me as I'm going up for a corner, trying to win a header. He'd be elbowing me. And she kind of expected another.
Really clever with it though, weren't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get away. You wouldn't get away with any of it now because it all gets.
And we've seen it on Match of the Day. We've seen it on Match of the Day, didn't we? But until we've seen it down here, we're like,
Darren
he's
Persie,
filth.
He copped her up Darren Persie.
He's filth. Yeah.
But he was so good at it. He was always out of view of the officials. Like.
And you kind of like, well, that's the way you do it. That's the way you do it.
I was 18 for, I was 19 for Cambridge. I made my debut against Stockport, and they had Kevin Francis up front. So he's 6'8", and his and his partner was David Priest, must have been. I think he was 6'4" or 5. I just remember thinking, they rang me up the night before and says, "Oh, look, so and so's injured. He's pulled out. You're gonna have to play." I'm thinking, "Oh shit, what?" This is. I'm like, "Great, cool."
Yeah.
There's my debut, and I'm thinking, "How am I gonna get on against this lad?"
Good news, bad news thing.
But I could header and I could tackle, and that's what I could do.
Time that run.
Yeah, and that's what I could do. That was my game. But he was so dirty. I remember I'm standing. It must have been a corner, or we're up the other end of the field. I'm literally stood behind him marking him.
Who's this?
Kev Francis, and he's just gone. He's just tried to elbow me in the face as I'm stood there. I'm ducked underneath. I'm thinking, you fucker.
Thankfully, the size of it has just gone straight over.
He's probably too big. That's why he missed. Yeah,
Skims you.
Yeah, I'm thinking, you fucking like fancy trying to do that on me. But then,
Did you have a bit about you or not?
Kev Francis.
Yeah. Did you have a bit about it?
Like,
You wouldn't go back
stupid
on challenges. You would.
I wasn't stupid.
Yeah.
I'd just make, if I needed to get my aim back on someone, I just made sure that they knew about it when I made a tackle on him, or touch on your toe. Sorry, mate.
Generationally.
Yeah. So
Wolves.
So I wasn't stupid with it. I was sensible with it.
It would have been kind of Muscat, Carl Emery, those players that were very visibly physical.
Yeah. So I was never one that was. I was never dirty because I didn't. I didn't want to be sent off and let the team down. That was my game. I was a team player. I needed to be in the team. I needed to play. So for me to be an idiot, it just wasn't. Didn't understand.
It seems to have like kind of nice temperament as well.
I did.
Like getting to know you now as well, and then kind of harking back to then.
And so no, I wasn't a lunatic on the pitch, but I could look after myself a bit, really. If I needed to, and I just loved the tackle. I didn't love a tackle if you're a centre half. So for me to go in a little bit strong on a tackle was nothing if someone had been giving me a bit of jip all game.
Yeah,
especially when the touch has got away from him a little bit, so you're going to win the ball and then you can leave.
Yeah, but you could go in for a proper tackle, couldn't you? Then it's a different.
It's a
now
lot
you
start.
do it now, and it all gets pulled apart on VAR. It's like, it's just
slow it down, frame by frame. Yeah. Everything looks dirty if you make it slow enough, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So finally, then, what advice would you give to both a kid who wants to be a footballer and or an artist, and kind of adding your little bit of kind of education into it, and just kind of summarise that for us?
Well, if you're going to be a footballer, you need to have a backup. So if you're a young lad going into football, I know it's difficult because the end is never in sight. But if you're going to go into football and you are in them, you managed to get into football, even as a pro on the first, second, third years, just have a backup. Make sure you have something to fall on if you're to get injured and come out of the game, or you don't fulfill your potential and you don't become a footballer because you aren't good enough. That happens a lot to players and they drop down very, very quickly. Have a backup. Just have something to fall back. Whatever it is, anything. But or even have an idea. Just something that you can do when you finish. And for a young lad coming through that he's trying to make it is practice, practice, practice. That's the only piece of information you're going to need if you want to be the best at something, or at least compete with people who are the best. Then you need to practice and make sure you and don't give up, and just don't give up and keep going and keep practicing. Like I said, every day off at Cambridge, I go and just kick a ball at the back of the stand, just kick a ball, and it paid off because when I kicked, they had some food things, and they used to pull the the boards up and hook them onto the hooks so people would buy the food on a match day. So I'd just hit, so these little hooks would hang down. So I'd be hitting these, I'd try and hit these hooks and I couldn't hit the hooks. So I'd hit these cupboards, these doors instead. And it loosened the bolts and these things so I could get under and get some food out. So I said, oh my God, I've got under, I'm absolutely starving. I'd slide under the cage and get some chocolate bars out. So if anyone from Cambridge is watching, I'm really sorry. So practice.
Football, yeah,
please.
exactly. Yeah.
On that bombshell.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for your time, mate.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
I
mate.
appreciate it.
If you like this video, please do click to subscribe to the channel. We currently have 5,500 members, over 500,000 views. So let's convert some views into memberships, and that will continue to enable us to bring great guests on and continue making great podcasts. Thanks.